accommodate that.
do math before then, like study
Okay.
up on it.
Okay. I'm starting an on-call job, so I won't have a set schedule anymore, which is kind of rough.
But
Um,
hey, you got a job.
yeah, yeah. So, oh, and it's working with at-risk youth. I don't know if at-risk is the right word anymore because they've already been removed from their homes and like are living in a group home because of their various problems. But some of them
Gotcha.
are suicidal and some of them cut and some of them are violent and things, um, or just destroy their homes if they're allowed to. And so I'm working with teens and preteens at this group home facility.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
pretty
it's
cool.
it's really exciting. Um, and I start next Tuesday. Oh, speaking of which, I start next Tuesday, and let me look up when I'm done, so I can hold on one second. I know I have that. So, what do you think happened on the test?
What I think happened on the test with me is my calculations, like I said, were off. Like I'm positive that my terminology was pretty exceptional, but with the math, I am just not like exceptional in that area. I just make the wrong calculations. I don't get exact, and therefore, if it's not exact, I don't get it correct.
Now, do you think it's because your calculator is your phone?
No, I actually have a different calculator this time.
Huh.
So I either don't round up or I keep it the same number. Yeah, this is a calculator I have now. So it's not the calculator's fault. It's actually user error, my fault.
Huh. I think in our assignments, a lot of times I'm the one that's doing the calculations.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if I can help, let me know. 'Cause I think you have the concepts well enough.
Yeah, I got the
Um,
con. I got the concepts. It's just the math.
yeah.
And honestly, I think this exam's kind of like the whole idea of it is just like,
You think you're more just stressed out than anything else?
well, I'm not gonna make excuses. I just have a hard time focusing at times.
Yeah.
But that's just one of my weaknesses. No
All right.
excuses. Though.
Well.
Yeah. So let's get this thing done.
Okay.
So we're going to part one or part two? Part two? Oh, part one and two.
So they. Oh, just for next Tuesday. Maybe we should meet on Monday instead.
On Monday?
Yeah, there. I'm looking at the email from my new supervisor,
Yeah.
and she says to come on Tuesday at 9 a.m. and plan to spend a full day on orientation, but she doesn't say when the day will be over. Um,
Okay.
so, and I know it's the people that are at the facility stay there 24 hours a day, um, and so I might not be done by. I'm not sure when they're going to send me home. So why don't we meet on Monday?
All right. And so let's see. Monday, my first class starts at 9 o'clock and ends at 10, and then I have a huge gap to 3:15 to 4:15. But I'd like to be to family home evening on Monday night as well.
Oh yeah. Okay. Um,
So let's see. I'm just thinking of anything else that might conflict with that schedule. Hmm. Well, tell you what. I can meet in the middle of the day, but I don't know if I have anything planned. So I can just let you
uh,
know, and then if not that time, then we could just meet from 4:15 to 6:45 or something like that.
that should be enough. Our meetings usually aren't that long anyway.
Our meetings?
Yeah.
Okay.
At least I don't think they are. I don't know. I think if we're ready for it, it'll be enough time.
Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And
Yeah.
and since it's on call work, I'll just have to let you know. But they said that they'll let me that at the very least I'll have 2 days notice, so it won't be like an hour unless there's an emergency. It won't be an hour beforehand me calling and saying, "Hey, I can't come." I'll always know. They said that they usually let you know a week in advance. So
Right. Okay.
okay,
So you'll be able to know on Sundays.
yeah.
Yeah. Sweet.
Mhm.
Okay. So problem 1. Please fill out in part 1 as you study the reading assignment. Be sure it is completed before you attend group preparation. You will complete part 2 of this document with your group. With which hypothesis between the null and alternative hypothesis is the hypothesis of no effect or no difference or status quo or is assumed to be true?
Um, which
No effect.
so it's the null hypothesis.
All right.
So
Well, I
the
think.
null hypothesis means that so it's a what it is. It's really pretty brilliant. The we have a bias. You probably already know this. Tell me if you know this. But we have a bias. We want ourselves to be right, and so rather than trying to prove ourselves right, we have the we make. So let's say we think our polio vaccination is going to cure polio, right?
Right.
Um, and so rather than trying to prove that it's so to prevent cheating, to prevent bias corrupting our research, our experiment is supposed to be designed to prove that our vaccine does not work, which is the null hypothesis. The null hypothesis in this case. So you basically you create a hypothesis that is the opposite of what you're hoping and thinking, and then you try to prove the null hypothesis right. And then the alternative hypothesis becomes the hypothesis that you are really trying to prove correct. If you think that way, then you're almost always going to prove it correct anyway. And so it's a check against our arrogance. It's really fun, kind of fascinating. Or maybe a kinder way is it's a check against our human, our hopeful, uh, our own best wishes. So the null hypothesis is the status quo.
Okay.
Did you
Yep.
already know all that?
The way you explained it, it was making more sense of why it was the null hypothesis.
Yeah, yeah. It's really brilliant. It's the whole like that's what the scientific method is. I think really genius. We're we're flawed as humans. We want to be right, and so we have to set up if and that desire to be right corrupts our best efforts. And so the only way that we can if we try if we set up our experiments to prove ourselves wrong, then we can try to overcome that. All right. There's no. What does that say? Can't read
Does
it.
does HO below represent a one-sided or a two-sided alternative hypothesis? That'd be one-sided.
That's HA. It says HA.
HA. Well, either way, it would be one-sided. I can't remember the reason why. I just remember that it's one. Okay. Okay, so it's one side. The reason why I think is one-sided is because the one on the bottom is greater than, and it's just leaning towards one side. And it's like if it was like a not equal to, then it'd be two-sided because you have two suggestions, so to speak.
Okay. That makes sense.
Fill in
Thank you.
Yep. Fill in the matrix below with the correct responses. Decision based on sample conclusion. Fail to reject HO or in HA. HO true, HA is false, whatever those are. So if it's fail to reject for truth, then that means you made a great decision because you failed to reject the truth, which is a good thing. But if you fail to reject the falsities, then it would be an error. And then
I love language. It's the same thing as what I was just talking about. Failed to reject the truth. Okay, continue.
And then with the bottom part, if you reject the truth, then you made a different type of error because you're rejecting the truth. But if you're rejecting the falsity of it, then you're in good standings as well. So if you fail to reject the truth in the top one, you're good. If you reject the false, then you're good. But what type of so the type of errors though for rejecting the truth and fail to reject the falsities, what type of errors are those?
What type of which part?
So I'm going to start at the bottom of rejecting the truth. What error is that one?
Rejecting the truth?
Yeah, if you reject the truth, what type of error are you making?
In which column?
In the first column, most bottom. Bottom.
Oh. I don't know.
Okay, I'm just going to do a little parable or story thing.
Okay.
As I was watching the tutorial, it gave me the answer, but I found out a different reason of why to say it's a type 1 error. Because if you are rejecting the truth, you are rejecting the greater light and knowledge of something. But if you're let's go to fail to reject the falsity now. So if you fail to reject the falsity of something, it's not as bad, but it's still an error that needs to be corrected. So it's a type 2 error. Like you can't tell if it's false if you don't know if it's false or not, but if you do, then yeah. I don't know. My things aren't always perfect in saying
Say
stuff.
that. No. I think it makes sense. Say that just one more time.
On the rejecting the falsity?
Both of it.
Okay. So type 1 error of rejecting the truth, it's like you're going against the greater light and knowledge. Like you know it's the truth and you're going against it. And then
That's rejecting truth.
yes, that's rejecting truth.
Okay.
Now if you're failing to reject the falsity, which is in the second column in the top bar, whatever, it's like
this is rejecting falsity.
yeah, if you fail to reject falsity, it's like you know it's false, but at the same time you can't be for sure. And it's a type 2 error.
I think the problem is that you don't know that it's false. So you're right. There are two very different, distinct type of errors. There's one that is being unable to detect falsity from truth. So you think that falsity is truth, and then the other one, or no, sorry, they're both of them is being able to. It's two different types of being able to identify truth and falsity. But one is seeing falsity and accepting it as truth, and one is seeing truth and mistaking it for falsity.
Right. So like mistaking good for evil and evil for good.
Yeah, I know. I really like that. That actually, did you come up with that?
It just came to mind. Actually, I can't really take full credit.
That's perfect for understanding this. It's the people of Nineveh.
People. Oh yeah.
They don't know their right hand from their left.
Right. All right.
I'm
So
writing that
next,
on my notes, so you know. That's really, really helpful.
I'm so glad I could help you out with that. 50. I'm so glad a 53 percenter can help an 83 percenter.
Well, I want to be a 1%er, so
What was
very
that?
close.
Uh, uh, anyways.
Fail to. Okay. Cool.
All right. Next one.
So, yeah. So failing to recognize truth and mistaking it for falsity is a type 1 error.
So failing to reject the falsity is a type 2 error, but rejecting the truth is type 1.
Yeah.
It's like the major sin pretty much.
So
Like
that one's worse. The type 1 error is worse.
type 1 is like the higher degree of punishment type of deal. Like if you have experience of not drink alcohol and you drink alcohol, then you're pretty much rejecting truth that you know.
Now, is this just according to you?
Yes.
But is so. Okay.
Like I said,
Okay.
it's just thoughts that come into my mind. I just thought
Yeah.
up stuff.
No, it makes sense. Well, unless it makes sense if you're able to see. And I think this is the big difference. If you're able to discern truth and you reject it, then it's worse. But if you're unable to discern truth,
That's not as bad.
then
That's
it's
type
not.
2.
Then you're not. Then there's not the same level of accountability. But we're talking about gospel values and not not just statistics.
Yeah, I mean, and that's one of the things that I can understand, and that's the only way. Like that's one of the ways I can communicate to people that.
That's how you'll remember it.
Yeah, that's how I remember it.
Cool.
Like I have different learning methods, and they're not all the statistical ways. Like 2 + 2 = 5 is not true. That's failing to reject. That's failing to acknowledge the falsity. So type 2, and then me even suggesting it would probably be type 1. I don't know. It's 2 + 2 = 4.
Those little sub scrolls are too small for me to read.
Hmm.
Okay, next.
Define the level of significance in a hypothesis test, and with which Greek letter is it denoted? I'm just going to start from the back. With which Greek letter is it denoted? It's with that little Nirvana alpha fish. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I actually zoned out and started reading the one before again. Okay. Define the level of significance in a hypothesis test. Which Greek letter is noted?
And for the Greek letter, I said the Nirvana alpha fish.
The alpha fish?
It's you know the Nirvana fishes, like Jesus fishes, kind of looks like that with it like a tutorial.
Yeah.
But
The
it's
letter
actually
alpha.
just, yeah, it's just alpha. Greek alpha.
Level of significance is a number to determine if the p-value is small enough to reject the null hypothesis.
So what's one? The level of significance is a number to determine if the p-value is small enough to reject the null hypothesis. Oh, so is it like the 0.01 or 0.05, 0.10 deal?
I think so. I think yeah. I think so.
Okay. Determine the p-value.
Level of significance is a number to determine if the p-value is small enough to reject the null hypothesis. So if the p-value, if the, you remember when we were learning about this earlier, and we talked about how if the number is small enough, then the chances that your extreme answers aren't just outliers, it's testing the accuracy of your method, I think.
I'm sorry, that's just kind of confusing me.
Yeah, I'll have to think on that.
Yeah, just different definitions help.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wrote down a little example that I think I'm starting to understand. So, like, can you see that?
It's switched. Before 0.05, after p-value 0.03. P-value is low, reject. So you're saying if it's below 0.05?
Yeah, if it's below 0.05, then the p-value is low and it's rejected. So I'm kind of wondering if the level of significance has something to do with that. You get what I'm saying? Or no?
I think so.
Okay. It's still kind of hazy for me. Hazy.
I'm gonna have to go back over. I'm gonna have to review.
Yeah.
Below 0.05, then the p-value is low, and you reject the null hypothesis.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right, next one. Write down the formula for computing the test statistic for the hypothesis test for a single mean when sigma is low. Z-score.
Z-score?
Yeah, the Z-score formula.
Sigma is known.
Oh, and sigma is known. Like, if you know what the calculation is, then that's what it is, type of deal.
Sigma. Sigma is the symbol for the sum. Right? For computing the test statistic. Is it? Are you sure it's just sigma?
Am I sure that it's the Z-score?
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yep, I'm sure. I'm looking right at the answer sheet.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see if I can do.
That's the one for a for a Z-score, or if you're taking a sample within the population. So I made the mistake yesterday, and maybe this is one of the mistakes you made. It took me a while to realize what I was doing. But remember the question that said 100,000 out of 100,000 people, there are 124 doctors.
Yeah.
So I was thinking that N was 100,000, and it gave me some ridiculous Z-score like 429. And it took me a while, but I realized that N was the population and not a sample. And so the Z-score was the X minus mean over standard deviation without the divided by the square root of the population because the population was 100,000. And then a later problem, this is when I realized my mistake. The later problem said out of a sample of 36, what are the probability of finding a similar mean? And so the sample in that case, n was equal to 30. That was the sample. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know that's kind of off topic, so sorry.
No, don't worry about it. I think I'm just going to see if I can do some of these questions without looking at the answer sheet now. I don't need to have teachers viewing me and saying, oh man, what is he doing type of deal.
What are you talking about?
Oh, nothing. Anyways, yes, that was weird, I admit it. So, define the p-value. How is it used in a hypothesis test? Define the p-value.
Wait, what was weird?
Oh, just how I explain something without... I don't know.
Dude, chill out. You're fine. Nothing weird. Okay, define the p-value.
How is it used in a hypothesis test? P-value.
So it's the probability of finding a certain event, right? Isn't it the probability that you'll observe? So like let's say I roll a dice and I get 20, and it's a 32-sided die. The p-value is the probability that I will roll a 20 when I'm rolling that 32-sided die.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just not getting it right now.
Okay. I've always kind of struggled with that concept too. That was one of the more difficult things for me when we were going over it the first time. So if the answer sheet says pretty much the same thing as the first part, but then it says one more extreme, assuming null hypothesis is true, or one more extreme, assuming the null hypothesis is true, which makes me feel like I don't understand. The probability that you will observe the sample test statistic. Okay, so the sample test statistic is the mean, isn't it? So it's not just one result. It's a mean within. So do you remember the normal distribution applet? The one where you saw the little blocks falling like Tetris?
Yeah.
So if you did a sample of 25, it would give you a sample mean, right?
Right.
I think that's the sample test statistic that they're talking about. I think it's a sample. So the probability. So if you do a sample of 25, you get a sample mean of x plus 1, and the population is x. So I think it's saying like, what's the probability that you'll get the sample mean that you did? And if it's more extreme, then it's going to. I think the farther away it is from the population mean, the more extreme it is. That's the best I can do. That's what I understand. No, I think I'm right.
Right.
That's what. Does that sound right?
Sounds right. I don't know.
I'm saying when taking a statistic, or a sample.
Are you on number 7 or still number 6?
I'm still on 6. I'm just writing my own definition.
Oh, okay.
Taking a sample, the probability, p-value is the probability Uh, dopamine is will be reached. Or no, but I don't know what to do with that second half. The entity. I'm not sure what that means. I'm gonna have to. Ow! 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 Ow!
You okay? What happened?
I just have a pinched nerve in my back.
Uh,
All right. Okay. Yeah. I don't know what I don't know what I did to my back, but it really hurts.
have you tried going to a chiropractor?
I probably should.
Yeah, chiropractors are miracle workers in those terms.
Okay. I just needed to shift to move. Maybe I should. Give me a second. Sorry.
Do you think
Have you hurt your back before? And did you see a chiropractor? So.
Well, I actually had scoliosis growing up, and just barely got it fixed in 2012.
Yeah.
So it's actually been a few years since I've had that surgery.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
But-
you had corrective surgery?
Yeah, I've had corrective surgery, and I went to chiropractors all the time, and my mom goes to chiropractors to help her out with pinched nerves, and it's been helping her out so much.
Yeah. Yeah, my wife swears by them. I actually had a really interesting experience where I used to think that they're like just total quacks, but this one guy on my mission saw me for free after I hurt my neck playing touch football of all things.
Yeah.
And he, like, after like 3 weeks I had no pain anymore, which is pretty impressive. I don't know about for everything, but that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so sorry about that.
About it.
The next part?
All right. If the null hypothesis is rejected in a hypothesis test, what is concluded about the alternative hypothesis?
So it's not that. That's the key. That's the key to this hubris thing, or that arrogance and wanting to be right and doing everything to prove yourself right. So it's not accepted. That's the brilliance of it. I love it. I just love it. It's not. So you prove the null hypothesis, you reject the null hypothesis, but you don't prove or accept the alternative hypothesis. You merely fail to reject it. So you don't say I was right. You say I wasn't wrong. Does that make sense? Or we don't have enough evidence to prove that I was wrong. Do you get the distinction there?
Not really. Like I'm look.
So for example, so you have to prove yourself to within, I think it's 3/100ths of or 3% or 3. I think that was it. That was what you just showed me, the 0.03. So you prove. Let's say the guy with the going back to the polio vaccine, he shows that his data, the results of his data, are accurate within 0.03%. And so he's able to reject the null hypothesis. And the null hypothesis stated what? What would his null hypothesis have been?
Sorry, just zoned out.
His null hypothesis would have stated, this doesn't work. My polio vaccine is ineffective. The polio vaccine that I've developed is ineffective in treating polio. The alternative hypothesis is my polio vaccine cures polio or reduces polio. And so you don't say when you reject a null hypothesis, you reject the hypothesis that says my vaccine is ineffective at treating polio. The alternative hypothesis then says this cures polio, or this treats polio, or this prevents polio. Instead, you say we can't prove that this doesn't prevent polio. We can't. It doesn't. We don't reject that. We don't reject that it prevents polio, but we're never 100% sure. And so we're not. He's not saying. He can't say this absolutely prevents polio. He can say, I don't. I don't know. I'm struggling to define it, but that's the answer is we don't reject it. It doesn't mean that somebody can't come along later and prove that it's wrong.
So it would be true then.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
That's exactly right. We don't know it to be true, but this seems like truth for now. So we don't accept it. We didn't prove it, but we don't reject it either.
Right. All right. So I think you gave a specific. I think you gave an answer in number 8. So I don't know if don't think we'll have to go over it again, unless I can come up with a hypothesis testing in real life. Let's see. A hypothesis test that I've seen in real life. Let's see. Home visitors or something like that. Like I would. Okay. So for an assignment in sociology to the family, I've been assigned to survey a couple people about home visiting and just give them a sheet to list down the percent of people visited, if they were happy, if they were not, if they were in well-off neighborhoods, if they weren't. And just some of the hypothesis testing was that the people that I interviewed were like in good standing with like neighborhoods before.
Yeah.
So I think that's the closest I could come up with the hypothesis testing, like right then and there, for this right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Quiz?
Okay. Oh, shoot. I exited out of my Google Chrome.
Oh.
I will get that thing uploaded really fast. Not uploaded, but loaded.
Where it came from, or so help me.
So help me. So help me. We're practicing for a play.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I'm impressed. I'm pleased and impressed. I'm gonna go grab my charger. My computer's dying.
Okay. I will sign in.
Yes. Okay. I can't find it.
Okay, let's hurry up and take this. Just tell me when.
Okay. Okay.
Do you want to start now?
Jess.
Okay. Oh man, 10 questions. I'm done for.
It's shorter than normal. It's shorter than some.
I'm still done for. Which of the following?
Mine won't. I have to log back in.
You love bacon. Is that what you said?
I have to log back in.
Oh, you had to log back in. I thought you said I love bacon.
That's also true. Dude, I made the best dinner yesterday. It was like a carbonara. So I took a couple eggs, 3 eggs, and I drained I separated it so it was just the yolks.
Whites and the yolks.
And I put those in a bowl and beat them. And then I cooked some bacon in a pan. And so at the same time that the bacon was ready, the pasta was strained, and I put half a jar of like fettuccine Alfredo in the pot. It was a pretty big pot of noodles.
Oh,
and then I tore the bacon into small pieces, so I shredded it. Not shredded it, but like chunked it, I guess. And then I threw the bacon, the eggs, and then a bunch of freshly diced tomatoes in the pot with some with black pepper, or rather, I like sprinkled black pepper into the pot while I stirred it. It was good. It was so good.
man, the closest thing I had that was really good last night for dinner was steamed vegetables, steamed broccoli, and then carrots. But then I ended up boiling them instead, and that was so good because guess what? I've been eating so much junk food this past week that it just felt so good to get something healthy in my body.
Yeah.
Even with a little dash of salt on it, it was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, you ready?
It's page is loading.
Okay. Yeah.
Food. Group meeting.
Food, glorious food. I'm willing to try it.
Isn't that Oliver Twist?
Yes, it is.
Okay, group meeting quiz. Ready?
Homework. Yes. Which one of the following best defines the notion of p-value of a hypothesis test?
Are we on the same thing?
I'm in homework.
Oh, dude, you're supposed to be in group meeting homework. It's okay. See that button on the bottom right that says save for later? Just click that.
I don't have a save for later. It's a submit or description. Oh, shoot. Well, maybe I can do something else. I will just have to take that quiz today. And I will just have to either bomb it or pass.
Well, you're gonna have to do both then.
Yep, I am. Pretty much.
So you can't hit save for later on your computer?
Not on the homework assignment, no.
Oh man.
Here we go. I'm in the right one. This one has 21 problems, not 10.
Aren't you lucky?
Yeah, I actively participated in this lesson's group meeting. Yes, true. I completed the individual preparation assignment before attending the group meeting. False, I did not. A hypothesis test consists of 2 hypotheses, the null hypothesis and an alternative. Which one represents the status quo? That would be the null hypothesis. Yes?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Which hypothesis involves equality equals? That would be the alternative hypothesis. Yes?
Okay.
No?
I think so.
It's either the null or alternative because the true hypothesis isn't really one of them.
No.
Hmm.
Okay, I think you're right.
We can come back to that one as well. Alright, the p-value is the probability of obtaining a sample statistic at least as extreme as the one that was actually observed. Use this information to answer question 5. When computing this probability, which hypothesis do you assume to be true?
I hate p-value. Okay.
No.
Probability of obtaining a sample statistic at least as extreme as the one that was actually observed. Is the probability... Ah! Ugh.
You okay?
No, yeah, I'm just frustrated.
Want to hear something that came to mind? I just said,
What?
want to hear something funny? That I'm
Oh, yeah,
just,
yeah.
all right. So I just answered null hypothesis, and then a thought came to mind of, well, why did you say that? I just said to myself, gut instinct. And then I just remembered the Lego movie. Have you ever seen that?
Have I ever seen what?
Lego movie?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Unless your instincts are terrible.
unless your instincts are terrible. So I was just like, oh, shoot. So hopefully my instincts aren't terrible. But I will just go back to and read that. The p-value is the probability of...
I think you're right. I think it's the null hypothesis.
Okay.
The p-value is the probability that you will observe the sample statistic you did, or one more extreme, assuming the null hypothesis is true. Assuming the null hypothesis is true. Yeah, the null hypothesis. Okay. 6.
Which of the
Which of the
following...
following is the alternative hypothesis for a two-failed test?
Two-tailed test. That'd be C.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
It's like, what's a two-failed
Two-failed
test?
test. Are you predicting something here?
I hope not.
Yeah, same. Which of the following represents the alternative hypothesis for left-tailed test?
Yeah.
It's what?
I saw that coat flying, and I thought you were throwing Salem at the bed.
Oh.
What were you saying?
Which of the following represents the alternative hypothesis for left-tailed test? Would it be A or B? I'm gonna say A because like it's less than and the tail is pointing that way to the left. That's my only reasoning.
Do that again. That helps.
That left.
Yeah.
Left. Right.
Okay.
And with consistency for number 8, right-tailed.
Okay. Yeah.
That's my reasoning. If I'm
What do you
right,
think it is?
that's awesome. Oh, this. For following right-tailed test, I think it's B. Just going on the same consistent pattern of number 7.
Okay, but what did you get for number 6?
For number 6, I said C because it's either or. So it's not equal to 10. So you can, if it's not equal to 10, there had to be like 2 suggestions.
I get you.
Yeah.
And 7, you thought it was A?
Yeah, just because the tail was pointing to the left. And then number 8 was B because it was pointing to the right. Like I said, I could be completely wrong, which I probably am.
Unless your instincts are terrible. Huh. Just picks up a little Lego brick and throws it. Okay. The outcome of a hypothesis test is determined by comparing the p-value to the level of significance, or alpha. This information... I feel like I'm going to do really bad on this test.
Me too.
Which relationship would result and failing to reject the null hypothesis. P-value is greater than alpha. P-value is less than alpha. P-value is greater than z.
Oh, p-value is less than b.
B?
Wait,
I thought
no,
it had,
no, it'd be a. Then the other one would be b.
but A says p-value is greater than alpha, than level of significance.
I just remember the tutorial and then talking about how if one number was lower, then it would be rejected. Like if the p-value was lower than the alpha, it would be rejected. So I saw failing to reject, so I just assumed that it would be greater than alpha. That's what I'm basing my reasons off of.
Okay. And then, so 10 was B?
Yeah. Oh, man.
Hmm. An hypothesis test.
All right, so an insurance company is reviewing its current policy rates. When originally setting the rates, they believed that the average claim amount was $1,500. They are concerned that the true mean is actually higher than this. Use this information for questions 11 and 12. Which of the following would be appropriate? The appropriate hypothesis, ha. And this is alternative hypothesis. And you gotta get going soon, don't you?
It's okay. This is important too. Which of the following would be appropriate? The appropriate alternative hypothesis. So they think that the average amount is higher than 1,500, so it's C.
Okay.
That's null hypothesis A. Average claim amount. So they think it's actually. They're concerned that the true mean is actually okay. So they're concerned that it's higher than 1,000. Okay, so that's their alternative hypothesis. And the following would be the average claim is equal to the null hypothesis is if they're wrong. So that's A.
So which of the following would be appropriate null hypothesis for HO?
That's what I'm saying. HO. So HO is the status quo. What they already thought was 1,500. So if they're wrong that the mean is actually greater, then the HO is, or then 1,500 is probably right. So then the average is equal to 1,500. So it's A.
Well, what's 11?
11 is C.
Oh, right.
Because they think that it's higher, right?
Right.
Okay. 13. The insurance company assumes that the distribution of the sample mean is normal. Is this a good assumption? So n equals 40. Calculates a sample mean of 1,650. It is because we're in this class we're assuming that a sample of 30 or greater is enough to make the law of large numbers apply. And so because it's n is 40, we have a sufficiently large sample to give us a normal distribution. So yes.
So I'm
What
different.
theorem or law justifies your answer? Law of large numbers.
Which of the following is a test statistic as defined in this lesson? Z. Am I right?
Z? I thought Z was the Z-score.
Yeah. Oh, this is a test statistic.
I thought it was X.
I would have said X or N. But that's just me. What
N
about
is the
you?
population.
Okay.
I thought it was X or S.
I'm just going to keep it.
Would you write?
S. The historical mean
No,
of
Z,
scale.
you were right. You were right.
Was it Z?
Yeah, it was Z.
Cool. Alright. The historical mean of sales receipts at a grocery store is 150 with standard deviation of 40. The store manager suspects the average has decreased. She sets up a hypothesis with the following hypotheses: 150 and 150. She will then use the level of significance, which is 0.05. She then takes the simple random sample of 36 sales receipts from her store and computes x equals 144. Use this information. Okay. Calculations.
Okay.
No way around it. I'm going to do my paper, work on it.
150.
Standard deviation of 40. 150. Then 36 receipts, so that's divided by 36. And I get my calculator.
Where'd you say you mention again?
Well, oh, Michigan, Detroit.
Did you speak Spanish?
No comprende.
You said standard deviation of 140. It's 40. You know that, right?
Wait, what? How's it 140?
It's 40. You said 140.
Oh, it said 40.
Oh, then I misheard you. Never mind. Okay. The store manager suspects the average is decreased. Sample 36.
.025.
144.
Negative .025.
I'm just gonna run through it really quick.
Oh man, we have to open up the applet again? Alright, let's do it. Come here, applet. I'm coming after you. Okay. Aha. No.
I got .9, negative 9. Negative .9.
Negative 0.9?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, I... X minus mean. So it's...
Like, what's the z-score?
That's what I got as the z-score, negative 9. So X minus mean, so that's That's 144 minus 150, which is negative 6. And then negative 6. So
Okay.
standard deviation 40 divided by equals 36 squared. Right, square root of 36. The square root of 36 is 6. 40 equals 40 divided by 6.666666. Negative 6 divided by 6.66666666 is negative 0.9. So the z-score is 0.9.
I got 0.98. Unless you and I did the math. Actually, you know what? You have a higher tendency to get those problems correct, so I'm just going to listen to you.
I think all that's happening is that our calculators are using just slightly different
So 0.9?
rounding stuff.
Is it 0.9? Do you say?
I think so.
All right. What is the p-value associated with the z-score from the previous question? I do not know.
Yeah, that I don't know.
Question mark. 2 of them. Alright, so what inference would you make about the null hypothesis for this problem? Fail to reject the null hypothesis.
We can't know unless we have the p-value.
Oh. Well, what do we do then? Find the
I don't
p-value.
know. Do we go to the normal probability applet?
I don't think it is the p-value, though.
Well, that's the best I can do. Okay, so
If I'm gonna get an F on this assignment and the teacher watches this, I'm gonna make this as much enjoyable as possible for him. So at least he knows I have a good sense of humor. So I go down in glory, you know?
I suppose. So how do we find the p-value? Did they give us a formula?
P-value. I think it would be in the tutorials or the videos. P-value, p-value, p-value. Nope, that's not it. No, it's not in here.
Okay. The question was, what is the z-score associated with this test?
Wait, what is the z-score associated with this test?
Oh, I'm looking at number 16.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm looking at too.
So she thinks it's less than 144.
Oh, wait a sec.
So the p-value is the probability that you will get one at the so the applet tells you the probability. So if we put in the z-score, but I just need to know if it's above or below the line. So I think the percentage is 0.18. Okay. I might be wrong. This is what mine looks like. So I've got this deal. Z-score is 0.9. Now, is it this tail or is it over there? Is it this? I think it's this, right? It can't be this portion. I guess it could be. I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay. Maybe I'm way off.
But what just came to mind was, is p-value something like the z-score minus the Greek symbol?
P-value says p-value is the probability that you will observe the sample test statistic you did see, or one more extreme than the null, assuming the null hypothesis is true. So I think what I have is right.
So 0.18?
0.184.
So is
Or
it
I don't. Huh? Which
so
is, it's too high, right? That's 18%. So
but that's
we
but the
failed to
z-score
reject the null hypothesis.
so it's failed to reject the null hypothesis then.
Yeah, because it would need to be 0.03.
Okay.
There are two types of errors that can be made. Which one involves rejecting the null hypothesis when it is true?
You might remember this one.
Isn't it? Isn't that's type 1?
Yep.
Yeah.
A researcher decided that instead of using level of significance of fishtail thing 0.05, he'll use a fishtail 0.1, which of the following will be true?
Oh, I don't even know.
Let's see. Type 2. Type 2 will probably increase.
Which is rejecting. Type 2 is rejecting truth?
No, type 2 is
Rejecting falsity. Or accepting falsity.
failing to reject falsity. And if A is 0.05, compute the probability of committing a type 1 error.
Mistaking for truth. So, yeah, wait. No, if he... use so the probability. No, it's the other way around. It's the likelihood of rejecting truth. I think because if he gets a 0.03, he's going to reject it. I think that's right. Okay. I'm submitting.
Okay.
Yeah.
D plus.
No plus for me.
So you got D.
Yeah, 65 right in the middle of the road.
69. So what do you answer differently?
I wrote on 20. I wrote A, and you wrote B.
No, on 20 I said A.
You said A also?
Well, I changed my answer to A.
Oh, because of what I said. So I led you astray. I'm sorry.
And then, let's see.
21 I got wrong.
21 I also got wrong. I said 0.95. Then what did you get for 16?
16. I got it right.
What did you have?
Negative 0.9.
Oh, I had 0.9. I didn't have a negative.
Oh, sorry.
But why did I have a D plus and you had a D?
I don't know.
Okay, so I got wrong 1, 4.
I got wrong 1 and 4, like you.
14. I got wrong.
You got wrong. I got 7 and 8 wrong.
7 and 8 wrong. I got those right.
What did you write?
I got A, I said A and B.
Oh, I put B and A. I thought you said.
Nope.
I did what you said. I did what I thought you said.
Miscommunication. Sorry, I led you astray.
Yeah. All right. 14 was central limit theorem.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, of course it is. Oh. Ah. I knew that. Well, that's just dumb. Okay. So I shouldn't have got 14 wrong, but the others are deserved. Okay. All right, man.
I'm starting
Have a good
to
night.
like this class. All right. Bye.
We'll be fine. We'll be fine. We'll figure this out.
Uh,
All right.
See ya.
Later.